Welcome to the True Blue Riffcast. I am your host, Jeremy, and I'm joined by Dave. Dave.
Yeah, what?
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Turn. I'm watching a movie.
I know. Turn it off.
Star Wars The Force Awakens.
In case you forgot.
RiffTrax did it. It's relevant.
Yes, but we can't record that in the background, Dave.
Really? Why not? Are you saying people don't like Star Wars The Force Awakens?
Well.
See. Oh, okay. They just got blown up. And we're just going to pretend that Rey and Finn and BB-8 all died in that explosion.
Okay, that will make some people very happy.
Yes, I know, right? And there you have it, the Dave turn off the movie bit.
All right, well, as you may know, if you listened to last week's episode, we are in the middle of our first half of RiffTrax 2019 kind of look back deal thing.
Our half year in review. So
half year in review. That sounds much more better.
This will be the second half, so it's going to be our second quarter year in review.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like it sounds like a spreadsheet at work.
Yes, the second quarter review. We last left off with Zombie, aka I Eat Your Skin.
Which is amazing. Everyone should go buy it right now.
Yes, and that was the last, was it April something that was released?
April 24th.
Yes, April 24th. So we're just going to jump right back into things. May 3rd brought us yet another RiffTrax Presents release. This one from Bridget Nelson and Mary Jo Pehl, High School Hero.
Woo!
High School Hero is a part of the Teenagers series of movies released in 1946. This one was. But it includes other films such as Junior Prom, which you may know from another RiffTrax Presents release, or Freddy Steps Out, which you may also know from another RiffTrax Presents release. So it looks like we're kind of going through this whole series. They've done 3 so far. If they're going to finish it out, we've got 5 more.
There are more than that. Wait, there are more movies? I thought there was only 3.
No, there were 8.
What?
And these, in and of themselves, were a follow-up to a different series of films called The East Side Kids.
What? Who was seeing these movies?
Lots of people in the 40s.
Yeah, well, they're all dead.
Yeah, the other one, the other series had 22 films in it.
Were they silent films?
Well, they started in 1940, and they did 22 films between 1940 and 1945.
Wait a minute. They were how many? 22 in 5 years?
Yep.
22 movies. It's not like a TV show.
No, the East Side films were films just like the Teenagers. And the Teenager series has 8 films, and those were released over a span of 2 years.
Must have been produced like it was a TV series. I mean, that's the only explanation. It must have been like, we're going to sit down. I'm going to have to research this now because now I'm interested. Because I thought it was just 3, but tell me there's 22 in 5 years. I'm going to have to do some digging on this. The movies are, well, I don't know if they're terrible, but actually Freddy Steps Out is kind of entertaining in the way that just all the stuff with the baby that's going on in there and just all the convolutedness. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in this series now. Just to find out just what the deal is with that. So yeah, watch out for that in the next podcast because I'm definitely checking that out.
Oh God. I don't know if we're gonna have time for all of that, Dave. I mean that's a lot of history there. That's 30 films total.
I'll condense it. It's not going to be like, okay, it's not going to be a didactic. Okay, so it started out with Iron Man 1.
Oh,
it's not going to be like that.
Well, actually, but yeah, it was a good another entry into this series, and I really hope, honestly, that we get the rest of them. I would love to see them do all 8 films.
I do too. It's a really, really, really good fit for Bridget and Mary Jo. They really seem like they're having a lot of fun doing it, and when they have fun, we have fun. So I'm in agreement with you there.
Our next film came out on May 9th.
Oh, this.
And this is a little title known as Blood Theater, also known as Movie House Massacre. But it was the first feature film from one Rick Sloan.
Rick Sloan!
Now, if you are not familiar with Rick Sloan, first of all, shame on you.
He's an amazing human being.
Yes. You may recognize at least another movie that he did called Hobgoblins.
We made Hobgoblins.
Yes. What would you do with all those hobgoblins?
Now, I suppose we could address the elephant in the room, I like to say, and that this was a film featured on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Hobgoblins, not
Hobgoblins. Well, yes. I think that for Blood Theater, like the reason why it's such a big deal for RiffTrax to have it is because it's by Rick Sloan, who directed Hobgoblins. Now, Rick Sloan is actually, despite Hobgoblins and Blood Theater, he's actually a very competent filmmaker. He just made these movies when he was a very, very young man. But I don't know. I find Hobgoblins pretty entertaining, honestly. I actually enjoy. I mean, I enjoy it from the sense of MST3K and all that. But also, even if you don't have MST3K attached to it, yeah, it has all the crude humor. It has all the puppets that aren't done very well. It has its flaws. I'm gonna just put that out there as a given. Yes, it's a very, very, very flawed film. But it also is, I go on and on and on about movies with personality and likability, and charm is another one that I use a lot. Like movie selection, charm is like my number one requirement for like a bad movie that I just love and grow to love. And I don't care what anybody says, Hobgoblins has that in spades.
Yes.
So, but, and if you know Rick Sloan, and Rick Sloan I have gotten the opportunity to get to know Rick Sloan a little bit through my storybook project. He consulted a little bit, not everybody knows this, on the Hobgoblins chapter. In fact, I have to give him credit. He actually gave me the idea for the actual story that's in that, and and he told me some ideas that he had, and I actually felt that it was really cool that I kind of got to make something that was kind of sort of his vision, but also kind of sort of mine. I took his idea and I made it my own. I'm not going to say what it is, but he's just an outstanding, amazing, nice. I can't say enough nice things about Rick Sloan, but Blood Theater is pretty bad.
And yeah, all that being said,
yeah, I just put him over. But Blood Theater, I mean, it's his first movie. He's learning a lot. At the same time, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to make a lot of missteps. Yeah. But Blood Theater does have a lot of charm to it as well. I'm not going to take that away from the movie, and it's like a perfect RiffTrax movie too. Oh, and yeah. Mike, Kevin, and Bill are on point as always. And even if you go back at the Talkin' Drip Tracks entry, if you're a Drip subscriber like we are, that's one of the funniest Talkin' Drip Tracks episodes that they've done. So, I say this is an A. That's what I would say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Jeremy, I just kind of took over there. I'm sure Jeremy has some thoughts about it. But, this is, also, since I don't know what they are, but since Rick talked about this on Facebook, I don't think I'm going to do any spoilers or be out of line when he said that he has 2 more movies from RiffTrax being released this year.
Yes, and I really hope that one of them is The Visitants.
Yes. I think that, I don't want to speculate, but I hope that one of them is The Visitants as well. And I also kind of hope that maybe Hobgoblins re-riff. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to say, no, sacrilege. But guess what? I don't care. I kind of want that. So
yeah. These are my guesses. We're either going to get Visitants and Hobgoblins re-riff, or Hobgoblins re-riff and maybe Hobgoblins 2.
Ooh.
which would be interesting because they used all of the same puppets from the original,
and it was completely recast.
Yes, with people that kind of resembled people from the first movie, which
only kind of,
yes.
So that would be pretty great. That would be pretty great, but yeah, it's like I just think that's really cool. If it's Visitants and Hobgoblins too, I'll take that as well.
Yeah, I would take.
So I mean, like, this has given us something to look forward to.
Yes, and quite honestly, it doesn't matter what the two are.
No, really.
Well, I'll be happy.
Yeah, me too.
But something that didn't make us very happy is our next movie, May 17th, Giant from the Unknown. Ta-ta. Man, Giant from the Unknown.
What? Okay, look, here's the thing. To be fair, we talked about this in the unreleased episode 0.
This was the one that we talked about before. Or during our little test episode.
Yeah. And when was this? This was May 9th? No, it's May 17th. Today, we're recording this on June 17th, so it's 2 months ago. I already brain dumped a lot of this movie.
There's a good reason for that, too.
What I remember is that I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was very
It's
slow.
really hard to get through. I mean, but the thing is, it's like, it makes no sense. At the very beginning, there's... I think there's some kind of crime takes place. And then that's never mentioned again or something. And then there's a false arrest where a guy he's arrested for murder, even though he has an alibi standing right there. And I honestly don't remember the rest. But I do remember at the end, there's some serious Sherlock Holmes versus James Moriarty waterfall battle crap. I just remember that the movie was just I don't know. I think it's one of the worst. I mean, I think it's right up there with, again, we all like pancakes. I'm not saying anything about the riff. I'm just talking about the movie. I know sometimes it can sound that way because we're talking about RiffTrax, but no, I'm actually talking about the movie. I just don't like this movie.
Yeah.
I think Giant from the Unknown is right up there with Hillbillies in a Haunted House as far as just bad. And Oblivion just angers me. Oblivion just angers me on a different kind of level. Oblivion is actually competent. I will give it that. And it has movie stars, and it's kind of coherent. I mean, it's okay. Look, Oblivion is functional. I just have a problem with a lot of the content of it. But Giant from the Unknown is just it's just a mess. It's just this horrible 50s mess.
Don't forget, as we mentioned in the last episode, that this was originally a double feature with the RiffTrax Presents release of She-Demons.
Oh, that's right.
So if you're gonna watch it, you really should just watch it back to back with the other one.
Double feature goers in the 1950s, but you can see what they fell asleep to.
Yeah, they had no idea what they were in for.
Yeah, they were in for a nap is what they were in for.
Up next, we're going to talk about this year's first RiffTrax live show.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Octoman.
Octoman. How I actually really like Octoman a lot, honestly. It's, well, I'll let you go first because I've kind of dominated.
Well, yeah, and this one we have talked about, but this was, again, the first live show of the year. This is about a man in a very poor rubber suit trying to save his little rubber toy octopus babies from some scientists and a skeezy. I don't know who this guy is. If he's just like a sideshow guy or just a rodeo guy who's looking for a new attraction. I don't know, but he's very skeezy and he just wants to capture them and put them on display. And this has one of the longest crawling scenes ever.
The longest crawling scene in cinema. I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine there ever. I'm just gonna call it. I mean, I don't have any facts to back me up, but I don't think I need them. I don't think I need them at this point. It is the longest crawling scene because we see him go, and don't we see him go all the way back, And then we see, the other doofuses come out, be like, and that was the thing. That was one of the biggest set pieces of the whole movie. and of the RiffTrax live feature was this crawling sequence. And then when the crawling sequence is over, it would be like, you think the danger's over if there was any danger. Like, oh no, I was in the camper all along.
Yes. Like, yes, you came looking for me in the cave, but I was hiding in your place of refuge. But yeah, this was released, and we have, of course, talked about it at length. It came with the short of McGruff's Drug Alert.
Which is awesome.
Which is an amazing short. And, of course, we got the Legend of Octoman song out of it, which is another amazing song from the Rifftones. Up next, we have June 7th release of another movie that Dave loved, The Power.
Have you watched this one yet?
No, I have not.
You bastard. Why am I the one that has to suffer?
Because you don't have a bunch of kids that you have to take everywhere.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah.
So The Power is, we've talked about this one on the podcast before, I think on episode 2. Basically, it's in the 80s, before the fun aesthetic part of the 80s that Stranger Things is now ruining. Yeah, I know. I probably just made a lot of enemies there. But you see there's this expansive cast. You don't really know who anybody is. And there's this tiny little doll god that kills people with electricity or some damn thing, and it's just a cluster F.
There is actually some new information that came to our attention about this movie and a few other releases this year from RiffTrax.
Oh, that's right, you were telling me about this and I was blown away.
Okay, now you may have noticed, did it start last year or the year before, where they started the releases from Multicom Entertainment Group, aka Meg.
Yep, our good friends in Meg. It was 2017.
And they have released so many movies that this company has the rights to, and I am so grateful for all of these releases because some of the titles that we got are some of the best ones that they've done. Ator, Day of the Animals, Grizzly, Uninvited.
All South African ones are.
Yes, Sorcerer's Apprentice, and The Power is one of these movies, as well as the next movie and hopefully a few more that we should be getting at some point soon. Last summer, I stumbled upon their catalog.
Oh yeah, this thing is awesome. I mean, yeah.
And it came up in a memory on Facebook or something, and it came to light again, and I started looking through it. And there are some movies that these guys have that, oh my gosh, I hope we get riffs of, because I watched the trailer for a couple of these, and they look amazing.
What was that one we saw a couple of weeks ago? It was just terrible. Maybe I'm thinking about something. It might not have been Meg. I might be confusing it with something Extra or some crap like that.
Oh God, no, Extra. That's something. Those movies are something different, and
yes.
we might go into that in a future episode. Simply of just a few things in that, but there's a movie that they have called Murder Cycle.
Oh, you were telling me about this. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Yeah,
about some alien technology that the movie just looks bonkers. It is prime mid-90s direct-to-video film. I watched the trailer for it. I'll put the link to the trailer for that one in the description for this episode, so you guys can know what we're talking about. There was also another one that they did, and beautiful. It looks beautiful. It's called what is it? Lancelot, the Hero of Time, or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me actually bring up the thing so I have the proper title for this. But this movie looked extra terrible. Lancelot, Guardian of Time from 1997. And it
I can already tell from the year that it's going to be awful.
Yeah, it's got John Saxon in it.
What?
Yeah, and he's like a sorcerer who sends Lancelot through time. This Lancelot played by Mark Singer.
Wait. Mark Singer, as in
the Beastmaster?
Singer, yeah.
No, this is yes. Mark Singer, Beastmaster.
Oh wow.
Yes. So Mark Singer playing a time traveling Lancelot, who does come, of course, to the present day because he fights a terrible CG dinosaur skeleton in a museum.
So it's like Highlander and Merlin the Return.
Yeah, but it's a kids movie. It's rated TV PG.
TVP. Because that was around the time when they started that ridiculous nonsense.
Yeah, so this was like a direct to video nonsense that looks amazing, and I really, really hope that we get it soon. There are actually a couple movies listed in there. I'm not going to get into it, but they have a section of some stuff that kind of points at things in RiffTrax future, and
we hope so anyway.
That it should be are going to be outstanding riffs. But hopefully Lancelot, Guardian of Time, and Murder Cycle are both included in there.
That just sounds. I mean, those two just sound like great RiffTrax entries. Honestly, Murder Cycle.
I know we don't normally talk about stuff that
we want. I mean, we shouldn't, but we are.
I watched the show season, and I won't be upset if it never happens. But I like to dream.
As long as we get like a talking cat kind of stuff, I'll be fine. You know?
Yes. Our next release was decidedly not on the same level of a talking cat. Yesterday's Target.
Yesterday's Target, as they make a joke about in the riff.
Again, it's another one that we talked about just a couple weeks ago here. If you want a more in-depth look at this movie, you can go back a couple episodes and listen to it, so we don't have to drone on and on and on and on about the same stuff time and time again.
Basically, it's Daniel Baldwin in X-Men without the X-Men, and Malcolm McDowell, and LeVar Burton is a clairvoyant detective.
Yeah.
That's the movie. Yeah. Oh, and it's all shot like in the freaking dark. Like it's more in the dark than the dark was. And that's
which, by the way, was another Meg movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, you want to know why we didn't know these were Meg movies? It's because they put the Meg logo at the very end instead of at the beginning when they do.
Yeah.
So that's why we didn't know about it. I mean, that's like they put them in at the end after we've all checked out. So it's like we don't want anything. We don't want people to know that this was us. So.
Yeah, because the first few releases had the Meg actually at the very beginning of the video.
Yeah, and I think there was one. I have to go back and see which one where Kevin is like Multicom Entertainment Group. We have an endless amount of movies, it seems.
Yes, and they do have an endless amount of movies.
That catalog is amazing, everybody. I mean, to hop back to that, but that catalog, if you can find the Meg catalog, just go in there and just look.
Our next film, the next release was RiffTrax presents Sherlock Holmes and the Deadly Nexus. No, Sherlock Holmes and the Deadly Necklace from the power duo of Bridget Nelson and Matthew J. Elliott.
Yes, when this came out, we like we said, we droned on and on and on and on about how awesome this thing was, just for bringing together Bridget and our good friend Matthew J. Elliott. For more on that, I believe it's episode 3 or 4. It's got to be like episode 4, I think.
It was a very big surprise, but it was a great surprise.
It was like, Jigaba, what? And it was, I'm going to stand by what I said, that it's a landmark RiffTrax event. And that's not hyperbole, because It just is, because RiffTrax is. I know there's a lot of people who really kind of like focus just on Mike, Kevin, and Bill with RiffTrax. But RiffTrax is more than just Mike, Kevin, and Bill at this point. And I think that particularly in 2018 and in 2019, last couple of years,
definitely.
When RiffTrax Presents has just really, really, really stepped up. Bridget and Mary Jo have stepped up a lot, and so have Matthew and Ian. But even going back to 2017, at the end of 2017, with the Mega Riff, and they introduced our good friends Connor Listoka and Sean Thomason, two RiffTrax writers, got their own segment. I'm very surprised, by the way, that they have not gotten their own full-length riff yet. So, guys, if you're listening, get on it. WTF.
Even a short.
Yeah. Something, guys. I mean, you guys got chops. You proved it. Everybody else is stepping up. You already stepped up. All you got to do is keep going. You're already there.
Yes, your time is now. Come and grasp it.
Yeah, I mean, RiffTrax Presents has been really, really stepping it up and bringing so much more to the game. And I think it's just awesome, because it shows just how diverse RiffTrax can be. I mean, Mike, Kevin, and Bill are always going to be the main attraction. Always. And they deserve to be, of course. I mean, they're the headliners. They are what bringing people in to the show. I mean, they are RiffTrax. But RiffTrax Presents has been stepping it up, and I think we need to acknowledge that as a huge thing for the company.
Oh yeah, some of my favorite releases in recent years have been the RiffTrax Presents stuff.
If you go back to episode 4, you'll hear me gas on and on and on, or maybe not 4, maybe it was 3. Where you hear me gas on and on and on about Flight to Mars, and how it's one of the best things RiffTrax has ever done, and I still stand by that. Flight to Mars is something that Matthew and Ian did.
Yes.
In this discussion about RiffTrax Presents, we would be remiss to leave out Cole Stratton and Jen Varney, who also work very, very hard. It's been a little while since they had their own full release.
Yeah, I think their last one was Dreamscape.
Yeah, that was in 2015. I've talked to Cole recently, and he said that they are planning to do another one. I mean, they're not done. They're not done. They're very busy, but they also do Night of the Shorts. But they're still they're still obviously still very involved with RiffTrax. So they're not. I wouldn't say they're inactive, because they obviously have contributed quite a bit in the last few years. But it's they're awesome. I mean, what else can I say? They're just great. We're talking about everybody else, and I just think that if we didn't talk about Cole and Janet, it would just be disingenuous of us to leave them out.
Yeah. Just because they haven't had any recently doesn't mean that the stuff that they've already done, we shouldn't talk about.
At least any full length stuff. I mean, it's they're still very, very. They're still a huge part of RiffTrax, and I'll be the second that they have their next release. Bam, I'm right there.
Yep, and we will definitely be talking all about it during one of our episodes, whichever the next one is after that does get released.
Yeah.
Our last release, man, we're going through this pretty quick, but that's because we've already talked about most of these. Our last release to talk about is 1990 Bronx Warriors.
Yep. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was just right before we started our look back. So, we enjoyed it. The movie is prime RiffTrax material. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's really good.
So, but I kind of said my piece for 1990 Bronx Warriors in the previous one. I feel like I'd just be repeating myself.
Yeah, at this point we would be. But we have the time now, and we've kind of been talking about Meg a little bit. So I have the catalog up right now. I'm looking at it, and I'm going through and I'm counting movies that they've done that have been in this. We've got Grizzly.
Yep.
House on Sorority Row.
Really?
Yeah. The Dark, Day of the Animals. Ooh, Meg has one of the Puppet Master movies, and it's not Retro Puppet Master.
Ooh,
that would be interesting.
Curse. They have a Puppet Master movie, but it's not Retro Puppet Master, even though RiffTrax did Retro Puppet Master.
Yes.
In the era of the Meg movies.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's farther down in the catalog. I'm not sure.
Well,
but this one is.
Maybe you should do your research a little better, Jeremy.
Well, you know what, Dave? I'm doing this on the fly, so. But yeah, this was Curse of the Puppet Master. Directed by one Mr. David Decato.
What? Whoa, no way. No way. You made that up.
I did not. So there's bound to be lots of shirtless guys in that one.
Oh, no. Tell everybody who that is.
Well, let's see. God. Where should we start? He directed The Journey Absolution. He directed a ton of movies under the 1313 banner, if you will. That's mostly just a bunch of dudes running around without shirts on. And what else did he direct, Dave?
He directed this movie that no one had ever seen or heard of, called A Talking Cat. Yes,
one of our favorite all-time releases from RiffTrax.
I can't believe that.
That is interesting. Here's Murder Cycle again, of course.
Was that directed by David Duchovny?
No, that was Tom Calloway.
Oh, okay.
We also have Mutant.
What?
But hey, they own both Legend of Boggy Creek movies. Here's The Power, which of course we just talked about. Wes Craven's Mind Ripper.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Uninvited, which was mentioned earlier. Another movie from Graydon Clark that they have not done yet that I really hope they do, Without Warning. That was one that was kind of his version of the Alien and Predator movies kind of smushed together.
Now, have you seen that one?
I have actually seen that one.
So does it have all... I mean, because the last one they did, Dark Future, it's a Graydon Clark movie, but it kind of like doesn't have all the Graydon Clark stuff. It's just... It's just kind of like a regular kind of bad movie kind of thing.
Yeah, no, Without Warning is definitely a Graydon Clark movie.
Okay, cool, good.
It looks like they have the entire Graydon Clark catalog, because here's Final Justice, which, as you all know, they re-riffed a couple years ago.
Yep, 2016.
Star Games, of course, is on here.
Of course, yep. A study in total madness, also known as Star Games.
There's Lancelot, Guardian of Time, which is one that I really hope they do. Berserker, Hell's Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Oblivion 2. Yesterday's Target. Dark Future. There's a few other ones in here that look like they'd be right in line with the Little Unicorn and Sorcerer's Apprentice, called The Last Leprechaun. Which is another one that I hope that we get to see.
That sounds like a RiffTrax movie.
Yes, The Last Leprechaun. But doesn't it kind of sound like a horror movie? Almost like you'd expect.
It's
something.
Not?
No, it's a family film.
I guess it's because from the I guess we think it sounds like a horror movie because of the movie Leprechaun.
Yes, it could be. Ator the Fighting Eagle, which is listed under animation and family for some reason.
Say what?
I mean, he wants to get with his sister, so I guess it falls under family. Fairy King of R.
Yeah. Which is underrated, I gotta say. I don't think Fairy King gets its proper RiffTrax due, honestly. No. I mean, I think, in fact, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna say that underrated. That's gonna be my underrated pick of the week. The Fairy King of R. I know it was just released last year, so it's fairly new, and maybe a lot of people have seen it who listen to this podcast. But if you haven't, Fairy King of R is pretty solid. I think you'll really like. I actually think. Merlin the Return actually I think might be is the best of the South African movies. But Fairy King is very close behind.
So there was a movie that I watched for the first time last year in my yearly Halloween movie watching marathon thing that I do. And I just found it on this catalog. And
it's not Haunted Ween, right?
No, oh my God, no. That would be
Haunted Ween. Okay, Haunted Ween. Google it. There, I said it. Okay.
No, this movie's called Teenage Space Vampires.
Shut up! It's not either.
No, it is so, and I actually own this movie on DVD. And
why? Why do you own that?
It was when I worked at a place, a used game store, and we bought back DVDs, and so I got first pick of all these movies that came in, and I got to buy them for like 50 cents a piece.
Wow.
And yeah, Teenage Space Vampires is a definite check next to the hopefully to be riffed in the future, because it is bonkers.
Wow, it sounds bonkers.
There's just so much in here that there's Angel's Revenge. I mean,
yeah, getting back to Graydon Clark for just a second. I watched this documentary. It used to be on Netflix. It isn't anymore. Which is kind of sad. It's called Electric Boogaloo, and it was a documentary about the canon films.
Yes.
And Graydon Clark is on it briefly, and you know who Menachem Golan is, right?
Yes.
Menachem Golan, for anybody who doesn't know, he bought Canon Films and made it what it became to be. He directed The Apple. Okay.
So that tells you everything.
Tells everything you need to know about him. He made the deal for Superman 4. He made the deal for he also directed Over the Top. He directed Over the Top himself, and Masters of the Universe. So it's mostly about how Menachem Golan made all these terrible movies.
And there are a bunch of them.
Yeah, but the thing is, Graydon Clark is in this thing, and he has the audacity. Graydon Clark, now he's a nice guy. He's my friend on Facebook. He's got lots of cool, nice things. He's very pleasant to his fans and everything. But look, dude, look, Graydon. I don't think you really don't have any sway, any real justice in you don't have a place to be making fun of Menachem Golan. I gotta say, if you put The Apple and Star Games right next to each other, and if you ask me which one is a better film, The Apple. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, I like you, Graydon. I do. I mean, and he's a member of the group.
Yep.
But you really don't be making fun of Menachem Golan, guy. I mean, it's just bad form.
Yeah. Well, they say it takes one to know one.
Yeah.
So a couple more movies that I just stumbled on. How about the brand new release Kill or Be Killed?
That is actually, I was going to save that for next week, but it's actually not. Oh, it is Kill or Be Killed because this is interesting. The new release. Now, when I saw that it was Kill or Be Killed, and I recognized it as the pre-sequel, because it's not really a prequel.
No, they actually released it, and the movie itself came out before Kill and Kill Again.
Kill and Kill Again. I kind of groaned a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's really because Kill and Kill Again. I keep going on about charm in movies and about stuff that you can grasp onto and about how you got to have a good time with the movie itself. Kill and Kill Again, while certainly not bad riff or anything like that, it's definitely a forgettable movie. For me, it was, as far as movies, it's down there with Yam Bao and When a Stranger Calls Back.
Oh, you mean the movie where absolutely nothing happens?
Yeah, and to a lesser extent, Pressure Point. It's kind of oh well, there's just nothing to it, and it's kind of oh well, okay, fine, whatever. But I put it on, and there's all kinds of crazy happening in this movie, and it's actually really fun and entertaining.
The first one?
The one Kill or Be Killed, the one, the new release.
The first movie.
The first one. It has this toy castle, has this forced perspective toy castle in the desert. It has them wind sailing in a car.
What?
It has a Nazi karate tournament. It has a little person going around kind of like proto Tyrion Lannister, going around and in the quote unquote American South and recruiting karate masters in the American South to go compete in a Nazi karate tournament for the Führer, who has been long dead, in this big empty Roman Colosseum. There's just so much to like and love about this. It's great. It's awesome. And I just like, what?
I have to get this movie.
No, yeah. Get it, dude. It's great.
But Kill or Be Killed and Kill and Kill Again are both Meg films also.
But yeah, no, dude, Kill or Be Killed is excellent. It is an excellent. I mean, like we were talking about this. It's like, is it talking cat level? Maybe.
Wow, really?
Like, well, I mean, like, it's definitely. I would definitely put it on the level of Zombie, aka Eat Your Skin. In fact, I'd put it above that.
Wow, because we talked about this when the release was announced on Friday, because Dave and I were planning on if there was a movie that came out, or a RiffTrax release that was at the level of a talking cat, something that we knew we absolutely had to talk about this week, that we would do it. We would make room for it. And now you're telling me, you said on Friday, like, you're like, yeah, it's definitely not the same level. Like, you just kind of wrote it off immediately just based on what it was related to. But now you're telling me that it's actually really good.
Yes, it's actually very excellent. Yes. In fact, I was just looking up. I have my website, the Riff Wiki, up. I'll be like, what can I compare it to in terms of like quality? Well, not really a talking cat level, because that's just astronomical. A talking cat. I would have to say I would put this on the same level as Spiker.
Wow.
Yeah, I would do that.
So you're saying that this is your surprise release, the one that just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, bam, it just like smacks you on the face. Yeah.
Wow. Like, that's high praise.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Man, if only I didn't have an extremely important job interview tomorrow, I might stay up and watch that tonight. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be responsible and actually sleep.
Well, just watch it tomorrow then.
Oh yeah, I will. I know that'll be my way to de-stress after the insane amount of nervousness that I'm going to be going through tomorrow, all day. That's going to wrap up our look of 2019, our first half of 2019.
Oh yeah,
and a little bit of a review there for Kill or Be Killed. Yeah, man, that sounds absolutely just insane.
Yeah, it's not really crazy. Yeah, but before we go, I have to tell everybody about this incredibly funny thing that happened right as we started recording. So we're setting up and we're getting ready to do this bit where I have the TV on and Jeremy yells at me for it, right? That was a bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull the curtain back and say that was a bit, right?
Yeah.
So I have The Force Awakens going, and I hear like, okay, 3, 2, 1, and he does his entrance. And then all of a sudden I hear, and I'm confused because I think he's yelling at me. And then I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what he's yelling? It's like, stop looking at me. And I'm like, what just happened? I'll be like, and then I realized that he's yelling at his wife.
not really yelling at.
Yeah, but, and you'll hear it. I just totally lost it, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was
like, stop looking at me, just like completely out of context, out of nowhere. You guys have to hear this.
Yes.
But anyway.
Well, it'll be put in after our little outro music at the end. So make sure you stay tuned. You'll get a little blooper there for your troubles. That's gonna do it for today's episode. Don't forget, coming up in just a few weeks here, we've got our third and final RiffTrax Live Giant Spider Invasion. Unless you're like me and your movie theater completely screwed up this year.
There's a lot of that going around.
Showing any of them.
A lot of that going around.
But yeah, that's August 15th. The Giant Spider Invasion RiffTrax Live. I would be more excited about it if I could actually watch it. I mean, I'll be able to watch VOD, and I'm excited about that. But it's hard for me to get about the live show that I'm not going to get to even see in theaters.
Controversial opinion, I miss the October and December shows, but that's just me.
I do too. I like how we always got some weird like horror movie in October, or like a classic. They did Night of the Living Dead and they did Carnival of Souls, and those are both well, Night of the Living Dead is definitely more of a classic than Carnival of Souls, even though there are some people that seem to think Carnival of Souls is a good movie.
I don't know who thinks that. It was filmed here, and it was filmed at the most god-awful, ugly place in the entire state that I hate.
I mean, it's not the fantastic soundtrack, that's for sure.
It's a blight on my state.
And the Christmas shows. I love the Christmas shows. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got the other version of Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, for crying out loud.
I miss them. I mean, I understand why they don't do them anymore, but that doesn't mean I don't miss them. And, that's a good thing that I do miss something great that they used to do.
And maybe eventually they'll go back to doing it again. And I don't blame them for not doing them right now. Last year they did a lot of traveling because they went over to England.
Yeah, which is, though, every time I see that video of Matthew J. Elliott more or less hosting the event, like out in the lobby, I was just like, you bastards.
It was good to watch, though. It was good to see that happened, and honestly, I hope something like that happens again.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too. Help build the RiffTrax brand.
Yeah. That's all I'm feeling right now. My brain just kind of did that thing where it stops.
Yeah, we all heard it.
Yeah. That's gonna do it again. For this week's episode. I'm Jeremy. You can find me at pbandawesome.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube at pbandawesome. You can follow the True Blue Riffcast on Twitter at tbriffcast.
Hi, I'm Dave. You can find me at sugarraydodge.com. You can find me on Facebook at just search for sugarraydodge.com or Charlie B. I wrestle locally as Charlie B. I dress up like a bee man. It's hilarious. I'll pop right up. Yep. Send me all your bee memes so I can annoy my promoter.
I'm never going to not buzz when you say that you are a guy in a bee mask. Just so you know, yep. That's always going to happen. We'll see you guys next week.
See you later.
We return to our regularly scheduled Riffcast.
See you later, everybody.
It's the True Blue Riffcast, the only Riffcast that's dumb. Would you stop looking at me?
What just happened?
Off to a start.
What just happened?
I'm in a different spot because the washer and dryer are going, and my wife is sitting. There's like a line of eyesight between us. Usually I'm back by myself.
Stop looking at me.